Whenever I have a bad day and I need to smile, I go in my kitchen and cook. Today, we're going to make an old-fashioned recipe, salad with tomatoes, mozzarella, and onions. Tonno alla Puttanesca, tuna steaks with a very special tomato sauce. And of course, dessert, my amazing blueberry crumble. And today, we're going to find out how the Stellino family has a sixth sense when it comes to picking tomato. Come for the recipes. Stay for the story. Shopping for tomatoes is an art. My mom was the mistress of that art. An art that I didn't quite understand, but I always admired. We would go to the market and my mom would actually hold the tomato. She would smell it first, the part I understood, and then she would put the tomato to her ear. And I would ask, Mama, why do you do that? And my mom would say, Nicolino, io sto ad ascoltare la musica del pomodoro, which translated in English means, Nick, I'm listening to the music that the tomato is making. Salad with tomatoes, mozzarella, and onion. This is one of my favorite combinations. Fairly unusual, but I really wanted to show you how to really take advantage of some of the simplest ingredients coming together and creating a masterpiece. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3, and especially in summertime when tomatoes are at the best, it's so sweet, you could even substitute for dessert, a healthy dessert. Let me show you how to make it. Yum, yum. Oh, what's happening? Hey, why am I so happy? I'm about to make one of my favorite salads. This salad, by the way, is made with tomato and mozzarella, but not any regular mozzarella, ciliegine. Let me show you. Instead of regular tomatoes, I've taken cherry tomatoes. The reason why I like cherry tomatoes is because naturally they are sweet, fabulously sweet. These wonderful tomatoes are perfectly matched with the ciliegine. Ciliegine, by the way, is a kind of mozzarella. This mozzarella is shaped as little cherries. What I've done, I've cut them in half so that they basically match the size, and this is exactly what I love about it. Now, at this point, we need to input the flavors. First thing that we're gonna do, oregano. Oregano is one particular spice that tastes, in my opinion, better when it's dry than when it's fresh. Sicilian oregano is the best, of course, but then again, it's me talking about Sicily, so you know that there is a little bit of a vested interest in there. You find in your market at any time tomatoes all year long, but we agree that in summertime, tomatoes are better. So what if you end up making the salad in winter and the tomatoes are not that sweet? What can you do to make them taste right? Let me show you. I always put a little bit of emergency sweetness in that, and there's sugar. Don't put too much, just enough of a pinch to make it all come out just right. And then to give it some more balance, another flavoring that we want is onion powder. I find that onion powder is a wonderful way to convince the tomatoes to release their juice, to absorb the sugar, and to pick up all this wonderful flavor all the way in. Look how gorgeous this is. And this is nothing yet. The next thing that we're going to do is basil. Chop fresh basil, and plenty of it. Depending on how aggressive you are, you can even put a little bit of mint if you want to, especially in summertime. It's just so refreshing. Now we go with the onion. Finely chopped red onion, which is what I love. Just enough to give a color, but not so much to completely overtake. And what are we going to do for dressing? Well, most important part always is extra virgin olive oil. When you go with extra virgin olive oil, you gotta go with passion. And when you put it in, you have to remember that the olive oil here is what commands respect, what brings everything together. And here we go with it. Look how lovely that is. I know that you cannot feel the aroma of this over the airwaves, but let me tell you, it's just splendid. Two more things that I like to add, just to be on the sure side. A little bit of pepper, coarsely ground, a little bit of salt. We're almost there, we're not done yet. At this point, one more bit of acidity. I like to use balsamic vinegar. If you can find aged balsamic vinegar, like what I have here, use that. Why using aged balsamic vinegar? Is it vinegar? Yes. Is it expensive? Yes. Is it better? Yes. That's why. Why is it better? I find that aged balsamic vinegar is like fine wine. It has a smooth finish, a sweetness to it that is not so impossibly harsh as vinegar can be sometimes, but rather has a mellifluous note that carries this whole dressing to the next level. So We're almost there. Let's finish it now. Let this rest, I would say, for at least a good 45 minutes before you serve it. And then there is one more addition to do right when you serve it. So we're gonna put this back into the refrigerator. We're gonna let it rest for a while. And when I come back, I will show you with the last addition, a little mystery. When I pour it down, I only see a salad made of my favorite things, tomato and mozzarella, basilico, basil there would be, onion, oregano. I see Sicily. But there's something special about this salad. It's a happy salad. The last addition to be made is shea Parmesan cheese. Well, I should just like drop it on top, but I want to cover it as if it was snow coming from somewhere splendidly special. And one last touch, just because I love basil and I love to see it cover my salad. There you are. This goes well with just about anything. I propose that you use this with your favorite steak, with your favorite pork chop, with your favorite fish, especially in summertime when the tomatoes are at the best. And this is how you make salad with tomatoes, mozzarella, onion, and oregano. I never heard any music, but I still find myself, and I always notice that I do that because my wife looks at me somewhat stunned, held back in a quizzical way. Say, what are you doing? I say, I'm listening to the music of the tomato. Tonno alla Puttanesca. Puttanesca, loosely translated in English as sidewalk Cinderella style, is an interesting kind of sauce that usually is made for pasta. It's very strong, very aggressive, very southern as a matter of fact. But combined with this fish, it really brings out the best elements of the tuna. This is so simple to make that I am convinced that once I show you to make it, this will become one of the favorite dishes you'll make for your friends and your family at home. Let me show you how to make it. To get the sauce going, I got extra virgin olive oil added now to the pan, and this is going to be the base of our sauce. What's going to make this sauce quite interesting for us? Well, first and foremost, we go with our garlic. While the garlic is still nice and cold, I like to add some red pepper flakes. One of the things that I want to show you is, for those of you who are afraid of burning the garlic, how to maintain control on the garlic. When you start with the cold oil, when you start with the cold garlic, you're able to bring it to temperature together. This is one way to get the garlic nice and brown without burning it, being on top of it. The difference in flavor is not excessive. This gives you more control, but it requires that you pay attention to what you're doing. It requires that you stay right on top of it and you stay around to realize when the garlic finally starts to brown and it's ready for the addition of the next ingredient. The garlic has the perfect consistency. Now we're gonna add our red onions. Salsa alla puttanesca always begins with these ingredients. Now everything is nice and hot. We're gonna lower this to medium. And at this point, I like to add a few other things. First, we go with the parsley. As usual, the reason why I add the parsley at this point, I want it to fry. And I wanted to add all of its flavoring to the sauce itself. That's how we do this. And the next thing that you have not seen in a long, long time is an addition of something unique. This is anchovy paste. Why do we add anchovy paste? Anchovy paste brings an interesting flavor to this. It marries very well with the red pepper flakes, but also it gives to this whole dish a spike, a turn, a flow, as you've never seen it before. And this is really at the essential presence, the definition of puttanesca. Without the anchovy paste, you have no puttanesca. Anchovy paste, by the way, is something that you can use as a flavor enhancer for everything, even for roasted potatoes, for roasted carrots. If you never tried it before, especially with carrots, try it. This and a little bit of capers will take you exactly where you want to go. And here we go with the capers now. Look what we've done with the capers. These capers were taken out of the brine. We washed them to make sure that they have none of the brine with them. Why is this important? Capers already have a flavor of their own, which is pretty salty because of the fact that they lived in the brine for all this time. If you add them in their original form with the brine attached to it, it's going to twist and turn the sauce all the wrong way. This way, instead, you ensure success. Next thing we're going to do, some Kalamata olives, which I have cut in half. Make sure that you take the stone out. This is at the very core of our sauce as to what we want to do. Now, I'm going to increase the heat because the next addition, I want to pick up all of the juices that are sticking at the bottom of the pan. How am I going to do that? Two ways of doing it. You could do it with water. Am I going to do it that way? No. Excuse me. No. Non possiamo. Non è possibile. Having an opportunity, you deglaze with wine, white wine. High heat is going to give us this wonderful opportunity for the wine to reduce, dislodge the brown bits at the bottom, and we're going to cook this on very high heat until most of the wine has evaporated. The wine is reduced just about by half. Now we go with the other addition. I like to add a little bit of chicken stock. Fish stock would be best if you have it, especially if you're going to use this for fish. And then some tomato sauce. You can use my tomato sauce, your tomato sauce, your favorite tomato sauce that you buy at the store. The next thing that we're going to do, we're going to bring this to a boil. And once it reaches a boil, we're going to let it simmer. Why are we doing this? We have all these complete flavors already in the form of the tomato sauce, the chicken stock, individual ingredients right now like the capers, the olives, the onion, the garlic that we want to reintroduce into the conversation. How do you reintroduce them into the conversation? By allowing the simmering process to take place. One of the things that you do, you allow for all of these ingredients to learn how to like each other, or I like to say how to love each other. And also you want the sauce to simmer and at the same time to thicken a little bit. Thicken so that when you finally use it as a condiment to this beautiful piece of fish, which is the tuna, there is the perfect complement to it. Now, the color that you see is dictated by the anchovy paste that we've added. And this is what makes this truly flavorful. When you make this at home for yourself, you must measure the anchovy paste according to what it is that you like. So if my recommendation you find it to be a little bit too much, next time do half of it. I like it because to me is the kind of presence that I love into my sauce. This is perfect. Let me move this to the back burner. I'm gonna let this simmer for the next 15-20 minutes, and while this is simmering, I'll show you to cook the perfect tuna steak. We got high heat underneath the pan. We're gonna add the oil, and we're gonna let the oil get really, really hot. The olive oil is nice and hot, and it's time for us to actually add the fish. So I'll do two things. First, I take the fish, I add it. Notice how I do it so that it splashes the oil away from me. The olive oil is super, super hot. So what I've done immediately, I have lowered the temperature of the olive oil to medium, medium-low. We are going to cook it for about 2.5–3 minutes per side. I decided to go ahead and put some horse pepper right here on top. Don't put too much. My wife gets upset at me if I do. And a little bit of salt. I always like to use sea salt. To me, sea salt is the only way to go. So now, let's let this cook until it's right. When you turn the fish, even if you're using a fantastic spatula like this, always have another instrument to secure it for you. So this is what I like to do. Put the spatula underneath, turn it. Ah, signori e signori, guardate. Now, what I love about this is how we are getting the perfect brown on the edges of the steak. Also, when I touch the steak, I can feel that it still needs a little bit of cooking. A couple of more minutes and we're done. The fish has cooked perfectly. The sauce is to the perfect consistency. So now we're ready to plate. Let me show you how. La salsa alla puttanesca is the key of this. More often than not, people do not put aggressive sauces when dealing with tuna. I find that this aggressive sauce not only complements the tuna, but really brings this tuna dish to its next level. This to me is a dish that's very easy to make, but it's so packed with so many variables of the spices that are fairly unusual for a dish like this, and yet they're not assaulting you, they're captivating. They will seduce you into what I call culinary submission. Tuna with sauce alla puttanesca, and this is how you make it. The problem is that actually I'm listening. And I don't know if I hear it or not, but I have this deep belief, which is my own belief for which I have no proof whatsoever, that the universe has its own sound. And I believe that every vegetable that I hold in my hand that I choose to put into the pot in which I will cook whatever meal I will has to have the right sound, has to have the right symphony, has to be willing to play and create this wonderful dish for me. So I do listen to the sound. These days, when you go to a restaurant that you like, some of the most interesting things that you could possibly buy is the dessert. They come out with their own engine, smoke coming out, molten lava being poured on top of it. I love that, by the way. I enjoy it. But I think that there is a certain artistry in just taking some basic things of nature with a few ingredients and make it sing. And make it sing so that you are completely taken over by this wonderful sound, by this wonderful aroma, by the taste of the simplicity of it all. This particular recipe I'm about to teach you is blueberry crumble. All that it has is blueberry, the crumble part on top of it, and lots of sugar. But it tastes fantastic. It takes no time to make it for your family, and I guarantee you that from now on, it will be your favorite dessert. Let me show you how to make it. First, you want to start out with butter. I'm going to put the butter right here in the pan that we have on high heat. Stir the butter around so that it coats the bottom real well. And while this is taking place, sugar. How much sugar should you put? A little bit of sugar? A lot of sugar? Hey, do you like your dessert sweet? You gotta put a lot of sugar. Nothing you can do about it. And that's exactly what I do. Now, the recipe, as I'm gonna show it to you, will only have blueberries. But when you do this at home, you can use a mix of all your favorite berries. Many companies these days have blueberry, boysenberry, raspberries, all mixed together, especially in summertime. What I'll be using today, couldn't find them fresh, I am using frozen berries. And I have to tell you that treated in this fashion, they really bring out a lot of flavor. Now, once the butter has melted, and the sugar has melted, it's almost equal part of butter and sugar, you wait right before it's nice and hot. Keep your eye on the price. You don't want to burn this mixture. And there you are. At this point is where I want to add my berries. It's starting to bubble up. You see how nice and hot it's getting. Now, when you do this at home, be very careful. Don't do a lot of talking like I'm doing, because if any of this splashes back, it's gonna hurt. Here we go with the blueberries. Frozen. At first, they look like little pellets coming out. Don't be discouraged. That's the way it's supposed to be. The most fun that I have making this dessert is just going at it, and you want to turn it. Two things will happen, you will see. As soon as the blueberries start to melt, so to speak, or realize that they're in a hot pot, they'll give it a lot of water. And from the solid pieces of blueberries that you will see a lot of water being spit out. That water is the juice that we will use to make the compote. This dessert goes through several stages. In total, we will not need any more than 6 to 8 minutes here at the stove, but I want to show you something. You can see right now here, the sugar still attached to the blueberries. You can see some of the liquid now starting to leak into the pan. This is the moment in which you're really getting what you want. And the more you keep it on top of the hot stove, the more liquid you'll see coming out of this. A lot of people get concerned and say, but this is breaking the blueberry. They're not as pretty. Pretty is important, but the taste is the most important part. If you really want the taste that's supposed to be had, you got to smash them around a little bit. The next addition that I'm about to share with you is a liqueur called Chambord. If you don't like Chambord, you can use cassis. If you don't like cassis, you can use, well, not if you're cooking for my wife, rum. Rum is ideal. I'm using about an ounce and a half. Why do I do this? There is a spike of flavor that this liqueur brings out that I just cannot tell you. I absolutely adore. Cassis is much less expensive, easy to find in just about every other supermarket, and it fits this dish wonderfully well. In terms of the rum, I like it. But if you're married to somebody like my wife who has this issue with rum, what's the point of fighting? Everybody should enjoy this dessert. When it comes to dessert, you don't want to fight. Happy wife, happy life. Trust me, I know. Do you remember how dry they were before? Do you remember I told you that a lot of water will start coming out? Look at this. Now we're going to take this water, which is nothing more than the juice of the blueberry, and we're going to turn that into a sauce. But how are we going to do it? We're going to add a slurry. A slurry is a mixture of water and cornstarch. And what happens is that the cornstarch, when added to this mixture, thickens up. And as it thickens up, it creates for us the thickness that we've been looking for. At this point, stir continuously, because what you will see is the color lighting it up, but within a matter of the next 3 to 4 minutes, this will start thickening up. And with all the sugar that we have on the inside, the flavoring of the liqueur that has almost but all evaporated, leaving behind this incredible flavor, we have an astonishing mixture. As you do this, attentive to make sure that you don't overcook it. There's something else that I do. This is an optional thing. I always like to add a little bit more sugar. Why? Because sweet is good, super sweet is better. Well, to me it is. You can see that it started to thicken up. You remember the super light color that was before? The color has darkened. The color will continue to darken even more once it rests. This is it. It's nice and thick. Usually I take a little taste. Oi, mamma mia. Siamo pronti, we're ready. Let me turn it off and let me show you how to plate it. Plating this dessert requires a few steps. The first step is to put the blueberry into the vessel. Now, this is for individual serving, and I'm using a spoon that gives me a great directional control by placing everything perfectly on the inside. Attentive as you do this. This is very hot. Don't look away, and do not fall victim to the idea of tasting it with your finger. Let me tell you, this thing is hot. You put your finger in there, mamma mia, you'll be singing Italian opera. Now, this, as you notice, is filled a little bit, not all the way through. Always leave yourself about a 1/4 inch between the very top of the ramekin and the bottom, which is where the fruit compote is at, so that you can fill it with crumble. You see how nice and hot this is? At this point, let it cool off. If you try to touch it with your finger, it's gonna hurt you. This is what I have done with something that I made earlier today. I put it in the refrigerator, I've taken it out, it's nice and thick already. You could eat it exactly like this. But putting the crumble on top and then baking it, it's gonna make all the difference in the world. Now, before I bake it, let me show you to make the crumble. Making the crumble is fun. The most important tool for you to use are your hands. Your hands are the most beautiful tools that God gave you. And let me show you how to use it. Into your favorite bowl, add a little bit of brown sugar. Well, a little bit, so to speak. Brown sugar, plenty of it. Then you add a little bit of the instant oatmeal, and immediately, with your hand, start mixing it, just like this. Now, your hand is extremely important because the heat that's retained by your hand is what's going to help you in creating the crumble. In order to do that, you need to put pieces of butter in there. Now, the butter is still somewhat chilled. And this is what I do, using my hand and my fingers through the heat that I have. You want to make a mixture that combines. And I like to have it cool because when it's too soft, the additional heat inside my hand makes it too smooth, and then I don't have a crumb that I really want to do. This is basically what you want to get to it. You see? All these elements of butter, everything trapped on the inside. Now, you want to shape it almost in the shape of the vessel in which you're going to cook it. Then you place it right on top. And notice that I have left some opening on the side. We're going to put this in the oven. The oven's going to be very, very hot. A vessel this small, say an oven about 375, 400 degrees, cook it between 10 and 15 minutes at the most. What you will notice is that the juice from the berries will come right on top of the crumble, moistening the crumble. At the same time, while that is taking place, what you will notice is all the elements of the crumble, some of them will harden, some of them will melt and go into it, and they will create this wonderful crust. And the best thing about this, when it comes out of the oven nice and hot, is to crack the crust on top and go for the sweet dessert inside. I'm gonna put this inside the oven, and I'm gonna show you exactly what it looks like when it comes out. I just took the dessert out of the oven. It's simmering hot, but it's not over. One more addition, and this dessert is ready. The last thing you need is a little bit of ice cream right on top. The ice cream will melt right into the dessert, creating for us this wonderful layer of finish. The simple combination of sugar, butter, ice cream, and instant oatmeal together with this blueberry has become a wonderful signature dish. Something that your family will enjoy for years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you make blueberry crumble. What do I hear? I don't know. Maybe I hear the passing of my memories. Maybe I hear the passing of this energy of the universe that goes by. But I will tell you this. Every tomato that I put in my bag that I bring home makes the best tomato sauce I've ever had. So even though I don't know exactly what it is that I'm doing right, I can tell you this. I am good at it. What exactly, I don't know. But I am good at it. The heel stop. Mamma mia, che bontà. Oh, mamma mia. Mamma mia, you'll be singing Italian opera. Look at that. Mamma mia, che bellezza. Oh, mamma mia. Che romantico, che bellezza. And then you say, mamma mia, che bellezza. Oh, mamma mia, che bellezza sta pasta. I'm sorry, what I said is, what a beauty this pasta is. We finished, we're done.